welcome back. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just get right back into this.
Well...
Oh dear. It seems we have reached an impasse. I suppose I have no choice but to suspend proceedings of this trial for another...
Hold it! Your Honor, I have evidence to prove my innocence.
You do?
Really?
Well, let's hear it then.
Very well. Mr. Wright, you're saying that I used my scarf to strangle the victim on the night of the murder, correct?
Well, not exactly to death or anything, but something like that, yes.
In that case, there should be paint marks on my scarf, right?
You
I
could have
clearly
washed
wasn't
it.
aware of the paint that stained my hoof, since I left behind a pretty noticeable trail at the scene. So, obviously, that means I wouldn't have washed it to get rid of those marks.
You could have. Could have just washed it in the meantime because, you know, you needed washing.
Go ahead. I'll give you permission to test my scarf for traces of paint.
Of course, we're not going to find any.
I promise you won't find anything on it.
Sure we won't.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you wish to request that we test Miss Polomare's scarf?
This feels like a trap. There's no doubt that she was unaware of the paint that night. If she had known, she wouldn't have left such a clear trail behind. In that case, the fact that she so eagerly gave up her scarf for testing can only mean that she's certain that whatever paint she left on has been washed off. So then, the answer should be clear. No, Your Honor.
Why not, Mr. Wright? This could be your only chance to prove your case.
That would be because there's no way that the scarf has any paint left on it.
And how are you so sure of that?
Because last night, at the time of the murder,
It was raining.
it was raining outside.
She went outside in the rain and washed the paint off. I'm an idiot.
Even though you were completely unaware of the fluorescent paint that night, that doesn't matter in the slightest. Any traces of paint that remained on your hooves or your scarf would have undoubtedly been washed away by the rain as you made your way back home.
You insolent human!
Order! Witness, restrain yourself.
Shut up!
Shut up!
Stay out of this. This is between me and that lawyer over there.
Pretty sure you'd be being held in
Of
contempt
course,
by now.
ma'am.
Gee, thanks for nothing, Your Honor.
So, human, since you refuse to let me try and prove my own innocence, how about you show some evidence that proves my guilt?
Your guilt.
Everything you've said so far is all based on circumstantial evidence. The scarf, the fabric, the crime. You've woven a fascinating yarn. But can you prove it to be true?
She's right. At the moment, this is all just circumstantial. Just conjecture. But that's about to change very soon.
If you can't prove I killed Overall and framed Coco for it, then cease your baseless accusations, okay?
Okay.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have anything that conclusively proves that this witness was the one who killed Overall Concept? and
Also, I
then
love
framed
that
the
design.
defendant as an act of revenge?
Was that ever in the show, like the yin yang design with the
Final
sisters
piece
on
of
it?
puzzle.
I love that
If
design.
I can't prove Suri's guilt now, the trial will have to resume tomorrow. Who knows what that could mean for us?
Do you know what we can use now, Phoenix? I don't think any of the evidence is conclusive enough to show that Suri had anything to do with the murder or the framing.
Perhaps not right now, but we may just see it in a moment.
What do you mean?
Suri made one big mistake that night. She got her hooves covered in fluorescent paint. Then, whatever she touched also got contaminated in that paint. And unfortunately for her, she just had to go the extra mile when framing Coco for the crime.
Oh, I see now.
Wait, what am I missing?
All that's left is to see if we can make it stick.
What am I missing?
Don't ask again, Mr. Wright.
What did she do?
Present your evidence now, if you have any, to prove that this witness is the real guilty party behind this crime.
He's got nothing. He can't have anything.
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Miss Polomera. I do have the evidence that proves that you were the guilty party, and it's right here. Take that!
Isn't that
The roll.
the fabric roll?
What in Equestria does that prove? There's nothing on there to suggest that I even touched it.
When looking at it normally, you're right. However, we've yet to examine this fabric roll completely.
Completely?
Your Honor, with your permission, I would like to perform one last test with the forensics flashlight. Once I shine it over this fabric roll, we'll see once and for all who really killed Overall Concept.
What? No. No!
Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I don't understand. How would any traces found on that fabric
She
roll
definitely
prove
seems
who
to
killed
know.
the victim?
It's simple, Your Honor. When we adjourned for recess earlier, Coco told me she had regained some of her memories.
Oh? And what did she remember?
Unfortunately, she couldn't remember exactly what had happened on the catwalk, but she did remember everything after she awoke from being knocked out. This
The
fabric
roll was in her
resting
hands!
In her hooves. Hooves, which had suddenly become covered in glitter, despite the fact she had just washed them.
The fabric roll was in her hooves?
If she is to be believed, then this means someone must have placed it there, and there's only one pony who could have done that. Miss Polomare, I'm going to run this flashlight over this fabric roll. If we find your hoof prints on there, left clearly by the paint your hooves were covered in, then I would say this whole case is solved.
No!
Oof.
Oh, there they are! Quick, someone analyze
Quick! Someone analyze them! 30 minutes later. Oh, magic, right?
Prince Blueblood, are the results back yet?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what do they show?
The hoof prints found on the fabric roll match those of Surrey Polomare.
It's over, sir. Now that we know you're responsible for framing Coco, that would naturally mean you were also the one who killed Overall Concept. So, Surrey Polomare, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh shit, she's cracking. Oh shit! Oof. Good animation.
Well, I do believe we've finally come to the conclusion of this trial.
Objection?
I agree, Your Honor.
If I am to understand correctly, Miss Polomare was the only other pony at the scene of the murder, and all of the evidence points to her. Her motive was to steal a roll of the victim's fabric for the contest she was participating in, and she was caught in the process of stealing it and retaliated against her pursuers. After they were both knocked unconscious, she hung Overall Concept in an effort to get revenge on her former pupil.
Yes, Your Honor. Everything lines up, and all the facts are in place.
Indeed. I see no room for
Indeed.
doubt.
You did it, Phoenix! You won!
We're gonna get an objection? We
All's well
have
that
to,
ends
because there's
well.
another testimony.
No, I can't lose. Not to this hairless buffoon.
The truth led us to this conclusion, Blue Blood. There's nowhere else to go from here.
Wah, wah.
No. I didn't do it. You have to believe me. Please. Somebody help me.
Now then, I believe it is time I hand down my verdict.
Objection?
The court finds the defendant, Coco Pamel,
Hold, what? Was that Coco?
Please hold on for a second.
Coco?
What are you doing?
Huh?
Pommel? What are you doing? I was about to hand down your verdict.
What?
Wait! There's something I need to tell you. It's important.
Something important?
What is it, Miss Pommel?
I have an objection to the defense's last statement.
What?
Fucking blue blood.
Order! Order in the court! Defendant, what is the meaning of this?
I remember now. I remember everything.
Remember?
Wait, Coco, you regained all your memory?
Yes, all of it.
What do you mean by all of it?
I can tell you in full detail about the chase, even what happened on the catwalk.
What?
Well, don't just stand there looking adorable. Please.
She can't help it, Your Honor.
What you mean?
Admittedly, I didn't see the moment he fell, but I know for a fact that Suri, she couldn't have been the one who pushed him down.
Huh?
What?
What?
That's...
Impossible!
I'm confused. I'm very confused.
Order! Order! Order in the court! Miss Pommel, do you realize what you just said? By doing this, you're incriminating yourself.
Are you trying to make a mockery of this court?
Oh, shut up, blue blood.
Well, you stay out of this. This doesn't involve you anymore.
I'm going to be arrested for murder if I don't do something.
Why do you care? You hate my guts. If anything, you should be thrilled about this.
No.
But I'm not. I can't just sit by and watch this happen.
Just because you would be doesn't
If I
mean she
don't say
should be.
anything, You're gonna get sent to the moon.
Tartarus, more likely.
Sorry for getting myself into trouble all the time.
No, you don't. You keep saying that it's every pony for themselves, but that's just not true. I've learned from a great friend that you should always show generosity to others, even if they may not deserve it. So I'm going to help you, whether you want me to or not.
I couldn't care less about why you're doing this. What matters is what this means. Is this you confessing to your crime, defendant?
Not at all. If it's all right, I'd like to explain.
Was this
my
gonna take the
past
same kind of
murder.
twist that,
Coco, what else is there left to be said?
Turnabout Storm
It's been
did?
proven that Miss Bullimere was behind
Where it
this.
was an accident all
I
along.
understand
Spoilers.
how you must
Sorry.
feel, but-
Please, Mr. Wright, I have to do this. I have to save her.
That wasn't really an accident.
She would never kill any pony. And you trust me, right? You told me so. So please, let me testify. Let me tell you what really happened that night.
Alright, Coco.
Really?
If you're that certain of your own testimony, then I trust you. Your Honor,
Yes?
please allow my client to testify. From it, we should be able to find the real truth of this case.
Very well. Miss Pommel, please testify about what you witnessed
Huh?
on the night of the
I don't
murder.
see how it could be an accident, though.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you too, Mr. Wright.
Coco,
We're in uncharted waters now. The only thing I really know is that whatever it is Coco has to say will lead us to the truth.
I was returning from the restroom after washing my hooves with the paint and glitter. I suddenly saw Overall running up to the catwalk, and then I quickly followed him. While running up the stairs, I heard a loud clang from above. When I reached the top of the catwalk, I saw Suri looking over the edge with a special fabric in her mouth. I ran to her to ask where Overall was, but then she swapped the roll in my head, and I was knocked out. When I came to, I looked down for the catwalk and saw Overall hanging with a rope tied around his neck. Before I could even scream, Clary found me, and I just stood where I was until the police came.
That doesn't really prove she didn't do
It
it.
seems to be quite consistent with what the defense has already uncovered.
Yes, but if you'll let me explain further.
Objection! Why are we continuing with this charade? Is this your handiwork, dirty human? Did you set this up just to rub my defeat in my face?
Oh, shut up,
Course
Blue
not.
Blood.
It's our duty as keepers of the law to find the truth. The whole truth. If all you care about are your own personal victories, then I suggest you find a different occupation.
You little blue cretin! You dare disrespect me!
Oh, shut up.
Me! Prince Blue Blood? Nephew to Princess Celestia her...
I don't care who you are. I'm here to find the truth. And if you aren't here to do the same, then the only experience you're gonna get with these trials is how to severely damage your own judicial system.
You!
Enough! Mr. Wright, please begin your cross-examination.
God, I hate Blue Blood.
I was returning from the restroom after washing my hooves with the paint and glitter.
Hold it! Are you certain that you were able to wash everything off?
Yes, I did. I knew that I was dealing with fluorescent paint, so I had to be thorough with my washing. I actually had to turn off the lights while washing my hooves to see if I got everything off.
Is it that difficult to wash off?
As long as it's still wet, it's manageable. It's not as easy when it's dry, though. That's why I had to wash my hooves immediately.
So, why didn't Overall have any paint on his hooves? He was working with you, right?
Yeah, but he was mostly just showing me how to properly paint the fabric, so he barely touched the stuff.
I see. You also said that you were returning to the dressing room. Anything in particular that seemed off while heading back?
Well, something like that. I suddenly saw Overall running up to the catwalk, and then I quickly followed him.
Hold it! Did you see anyone else before you saw Overall?
No, I only saw him. Or at least, that's all I could see when I looked.
What do you mean by that?
While I was on my way back, I was listening to the play. I was really happy with how great the actors were doing, and it sounded like their best performance yet. I only noticed that something was wrong when I heard loud hoof steps, and that was when I looked ahead towards the dressing room. I only saw Overall sprinting out of the dressing room for a split second.
Did you see which direction he was running to?
He looked like he was heading towards the stage. I even called his name, hoping he would respond, but he didn't say anything. I was really worried.
And that's when you started running after him.
Yes, I had to find out what the problem was. When I next caught sight of him, I saw that he was near the top of the stairs to the catwalk. I was afraid he would trip because it was so dark, so I turned on the safety lights to make sure he was safe.
Right. She said that earlier.
Yeah.
And that's why the safety lights were turned on during the crime. So, when you ran up the stairs to the catwalk, was there anything that you saw that struck you as strange?
It's not exactly what I saw that caught my attention. It's what I heard.
What did you hear, defendant?
While running up the stairs, I heard a loud clang from above.
Hold it! How loud exactly would you say it was?
Pretty loud, actually. I'm sure that the others who were near the stage would have heard it too.
That's right. Playwright said he
yeah.
heard the same thing in his testimony. I thought Miss Pillamere knocked out the victim with the railing. Could it have been something else? She also mentioned it in her testimony, after all. How did you react to the noise?
It startled me. It made me even more worried for Overall. I had to see what was going on up there.
What did you see when you got to the top?
When I reached the top of the catwalk, I saw Suri looking over the edge with a special fabric in her mouth.
Hold it! You saw Miss Pillamere?
I recognized her the instant I saw her. I never thought I would ever see her again after quitting as her assistant.
Do you recall her reaction to seeing you?
She looked very shocked. In fact, she looked just as shocked to see me as she did when she was staring over the edge of the catwalk.
Did you see her holding anything other than the fabric?
No, all she had was a rolled up fabric. I didn't see anything else.
What about her scarf?
What was the clang?
I did, and it was securely wrapped around her neck. There's no way she could have taken it off and put it back on so quickly. I'm sure of it.
And
What's
just to
going
confirm,
on?
The special fabric was rolled up and used to knock you unconscious.
Yes, it was rolled up.
This has already been established. You're just poking holes into your
Oh,
own
shut
theory
up,
now.
Blue Blood.
And what about Overall? Where was he?
Well, he wasn't anywhere.
What do you mean?
When
He
I
was
got to
already
the
over
top
the
of
edge.
catwalk, all I saw was Suri. Overall was nowhere to be seen.
What?
Huh?
She already said that.
Miss Pommel, are you suggesting that Overall just disappeared?
No, I was confused too. But that's what I saw. He wasn't on the catwalk at all.
Well, this throws a wrench into my theory. If Overall wasn't on the catwalk by the time Coco made it up there, that could only mean... You don't think that the victim had already been hanged by the time you got up there, do you?
Now that you mention it, I did hear the crowd panicking when I got to the top. And I'm sure whatever Suri saw gave her that expression when she looked down. It's possible. She was looking at the body.
What? But how is that possible?
Really, Blue Blood? Good God!
It's Blue Blood. What's so funny?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? The defense has managed to disprove his own theory with his client's testimony.
He has?
Go on, filthy human. Say it. Admit that according to Miss Pommel's testimony, Miss Polymer cannot possibly be the killer, and as a result, the only other one it could be is the defendant.
Not true,
Well, Mr.
because she
Wright,
also
is
couldn't
that
have done it.
true? Do you have nothing left to support your own theory?
Watch, Your Honor. The attorney there will clearly opt to strike all of the defendant's testimony from the record.
Please, Mr. Wright, you have to believe me. I know it ruins the case you built, but it's all true. I swear.
Blue Blood's right. I could easily have this testimony discarded and go straight for a not guilty verdict. But Coco risked everything to bring this information to light. She must really believe that Miss Polymer is innocent. And
Won't
given
put
the
an
testimony
innocent
she's
person into
provided
prison.
so far, it certainly seems to be the case. She's trusting
least-
me to save some pony she cares about. And I'm not about to betray that trust. Your Honor, the defense will not have the defendant's testimony stricken from the record.
You won't? But that means...
Yes, we're accepting the defendant's testimony as truth.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Then, does that mean you have evidence to prove how Miss Polymer could have committed the crime under these new circumstances?
She was just faster than the defendant.
No, Your Honor, we do not.
What? But wasn't she your prime suspect for the theft and the framing and the murder?
I do still believe that she stole the fabric and framed Coco. However, I am certain, based on Coco's testimony, that she was not the one who killed Overall Concept.
What happened then?
I see. And what, pray tell, do you think can prove your point? After all, there's nothing to suggest that the defendant is even telling the truth here, is there?
Talk about showing your hand. Blue Blood's clearly baiting me into presenting this evidence. He knows what it will prove if I do. But there's no way to go but forward. My only hope now lies with her. Your Honor, the defense would like to present a piece of evidence at this time. Evidence that
What
will
happened
reveal the
then?
truth behind this incident once
And what
and for all.
evidence?
Are you sure about this, Mr. Wright?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Take that!
Isn't that the noose used in the crime?
Earlier, we determined that Miss Polymer had touched the fabric roll by finding traces of fluorescent paint on it. Now, what do you suppose we'll find if we examine this with a forensics flashlight?
Well, if she's the culprit, I'd imagine there'd be traces of paint on the rope.
And if there isn't, then that would mean that she's innocent of this murder, correct?
Couldn't you just done that to begin with?
Yes, I suppose so. But do you know what you're doing, Mr. Wright?
I couldn't be more certain, Your Honor.
Very well. Then please, test the rope for fluorescent paint.
Nothing. But glitter.
There's no paint! There's no paint on the rope!
What happened? I don't like that. Stop that.
Foolish attorney! You've fallen right into my trap.
Right, okay. You've activated my trap card.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, as we've all seen, this rope has no fluorescent paint on it, which means that Miss Polymere cannot be the killer. In which case, the only other clue left as to the identity of the killer are the traces that were found on the rope.
The other traces?
If you recall, Your Honor, this rope had traces of glitter found around the noose.
Oh, that's right!
But Coco washed her hands. Hooves.
This must mean that someone who had glitter-covered hooves must have been the one to wrap the noose around the victim's neck. There were only 2 ponies who had the opportunity to do that after the victim was knocked out, and both of them would have had glitter on their hooves. Miss Pommel and Miss Polomere. However, now that we know that there was no paint on the rope, that rules out the witness, leaving the defendant as the only possible suspect.
Oh,
But you're
that's
wrong.
right!
What? No! It wasn't me!
Silence, you criminal! It's impossible for you to escape your punishment now. Isn't that right, defense?
No.
Objection! But Coco couldn't have used the fabric roll to knock the victim out. There's no way she could be the killer.
Objection! Just because she couldn't have knocked the victim out doesn't mean she can't be the killer.
Why not?
Have you already forgotten what your spiky-headed friend has already demonstrated? That Miss Polomere here was the one who knocked the victim unconscious by throwing him against the catwalk railing using her scarf.
No.
After incapacitating the victim,
Come on, Surrey,
likely
tell the
because
truth.
She was trying to stop him from catching her after stealing the fabric. Miss Pommel
What
showed up
happened?
on the scene and proceeded to hang the victim.
Objection! But Coco had cleaned off all the glitter on her hooves before going up the catwalk. Sari even testified that Coco had gone to do so.
Objection! However, she has not confirmed that the defendant did, in fact, have clean hooves when she arrived on the scene.
But...
It's the end of the line for you, defense. Am I wrong, Mr. Wright?
Alright, everything is going according to plan. Even though it's now clear who killed the victim, I think it's time we remove the last traces of doubt from the court's mind.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have anything
Did
that
he
can
kill
refute
himself?
the prosecution's claim?
I don't, Your Honor, but someone here does.
And who would that be, Mr. Wright?
Isn't it obvious? The one pony who can testify for certain exactly when Coco's hooves were covered in glitter. Surrey Polomere!
What?
You honestly think she's going to testify for you now? What a joke.
Come on,
You
Surrey.
just accused her of a murder she never even committed. Why in Equestria do you think she would want to help you?
Surrey, you've always believed that it's every pony for themselves in the big city, right? And yet, as we've just seen, Coco put her own life on the line to protect you. She saved you from being charged with a murder you didn't commit. Now, it's your turn to save her.
My turn?
Come on, Surrey.
Yes, if you confess to everything you did that night, and everything you saw, It will prove Coco's innocence beyond all doubt.
Confess.
I've done everything I can to help Coco. And your testimony, your confession, is the last piece I need to completely prove her innocence. However, you must tell the truth this time. We aren't going to get another shot at this.
Please, Surrey. I trust you. You'll do the right thing. I know it.
You trust me?
I do.
Enough of this melodrama. The game is
Shut up!
attorney. She is not going to testify for...
Fine then. I confess.
What?
What are you confessing to, witness?
I confess to stealing the fabric and attacking Coco.
You're admitting that it was you?
Silence yourself. You're going
Shut up.
to ruin my...
Shut up!
There we go.
I don't care about your case, okay? I'm gonna tell the whole truth of that night, whether you want me to or not.
Will none of you treat me with the respect I deserve?
No, we won't. And on that note, this video's ending here. Part of me is wondering, because I haven't uploaded any of these yet, if I should just go ahead and edit them back together as one big video, but that would be so long. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. We'll see. It'll probably be a while before I have the internet quality to be able to upload them anyway. Unfortunately. That's another reason probably to not do it as one big video, because my internet would not tolerate it. I mean, it barely tolerates a half-hour video, so... Anyway, though. We're going to stop this little recording here, and I will pick it up again, and we will see the conclusion to this, and see exactly what happened. Did he kill himself? Is that what happened? I can't see how it could have been an accident, you know, even if there was a struggle when... Because we know he was knocked out. Was it the director? That wouldn't make sense. I'm trying to think who else... Because he was knocked out, so there's no way... Unless he hit his head on the way over the catwalk, which could have happened. But then how did the noose get around his neck? There was no way it could have been an accident. Because you don't accidentally... There's not like he tripped and got his head stuck in the... Was the noose already hanging? Was it... It was, wasn't it? The noose was already hanging off the side of the catwalk. Because in the image that they showed, right, the production still or whatever it was for the play, they pointed out that you could see the rope hanging in it. The rope was already hanging off the edge of the catwalk. Did he just trip and fall over the edge of the catwalk and through just pure horrible luck get his head caught in the noose on the way down? Is that what happened? Good God, is that what happened? Holy shit. Okay, I'm going to end this part here, and then we're going to pick it up again, and we're going to find out what happened. All right. I'll see you then.
Open your eyes, life is all around you, don't have to be so alone. Take a good look at this world you found and breathe, now you're finally home.